Hello and welcome to MacFormat's weekly Apple Extravaganza. I'm Chris Finn.
I'm Matt Bolton.
And on this episode we talk about the iPhone 6 again.
Fancy new ebook readers.
And the first iPhone-controlled toy I've used that's actually pretty damn cool. Let's start with news in the world of Apple. So we've done a show on the iPhone 6 announcement, we've done a show on the iPhone 6,
Yep.
and now we're going to talk about the iPhone 6 again.
But only for like post-mortem.
Only for 5 minutes. And it's about the iPhone 6 numbers, because we now know that in the first weekend Apple sold 10 million of them.
Apparently, yes.
It tells us, which is a lovely number.
That's a lot of phones.
And even if that's for the lowest spec iPhone 6, which it won't be, that's still 5 billion quid in the bank.
Yes.
Which is not a small amount of money.
Gross money.
Yeah, all money is gross.
That is sick money. As in not including cost of goods sold.
Or indeed manufacturing and R&D and all the other associated negatives on the column. But 10 million phones is a really big number. And of course, we know that the supply was severely constrained, especially of some models. So we know So we know that had Apple been able to satisfy demand, how many would it have sold?
Yes.
It's an interesting little thing. But yeah, that's some models thing is really interesting, isn't it?
Because it's the Plus.
Yeah.
The Plus is constrained and the 6 is okay.
Yeah. But people have been drawing bad conclusions from this, I think. They've been looking at availability in stores, seeing the iPhone 6 is sold out and saying the iPhone 6 is a runaway success because it's selling out. But that is bad data.
Well, in this specific instance,
yes.
I think you can say it's a success.
We can say it's a success, but you can't infer from those data.
You can't say it's the more successful of the two,
no,
because you don't know how many of each have been sold.
Exactly.
You only know less of one, maybe, because it's sold out.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't even know
that. You don't even know that. So the numbers are, let's say a store, let's say our local Bath Apple store, got, let's say, 300 iPhone 6s. It might only have got 100 iPhone 6 Pluses, which means that even if the demand was a third as soft as it was for the 6 Plus as it was for the 6, you still be in the situation we are now.
With one sold out and the other with, yeah.
But that's not to say that the iPhone 6 Plus isn't the one that's more successful. And we know that we know there was a pent-up demand, especially from the Android community for larger screen devices. The iPhone 6 Plus is also the new and exciting one.
Yeah.
So a lot of the early adopting people would go for that because it's new and exciting and different.
Just for the sake of it, really. Yeah.
Exactly. And we also know that there's
the battery life.
And the battery life, and the OIS, the image stabilization on the camera. So there's reasons. But we also know that there is a thriving market in these devices being flipped.
Yeah.
That is to say, people buying them for X price and selling them on, especially in China, for a higher price. And I think that's perfectly that's capitalism, folks. That's just how it goes. But you also saw the analytics stuff, which might give us better data.
So I don't have a source on this because it's your bit of the show. You're supposed to come up with the sources. But someone said that
I'm just going to direct my cameraman, who seems to have fallen asleep, to focus on Matt at this point. He's giving me the evils now.
Someone said in their analytics they were getting 6 times the numbers from iPhone 6s as from 6 Pluses their web.
This is web analytics, isn't it?
Some website or web service. 6 times is quite a big difference.
Yes.
If we assume that whatever it is isn't something that is somehow broken on the 6 Plus or something like that, as some apps, for example, are. And
we can also infer better data from that than, because it's an apples and apples, literally, comparison, because if you're saying the iPhone has X% more traffic than Android for web, it might just be that people are using those devices in different ways. And yet it's less likely to be the case that you're getting differing usage patterns between the 6 and the 6 Plus. That is to say that the data you get comparing those two numbers is like more robust data.
Should be, yeah. I think that's probably fair. But a difference of potentially 6 times is kind of tells you how difficult Apple must have been finding it to make the 6 Plus.
And that is the thing, isn't it? Because we still have no idea from this data what the demand actually is for these devices, and Apple's not breaking it down. But we might be able to figure out in coming months, as Benedict Evans pointed out, by looking at the average selling price, the ASP.
Yes, potentially.
Which won't give us good data, because there are high-end iPhone 6s that are cheaper, that are more expensive, than low-end iPhone 6 Pluses, so we won't be able to necessarily infer the split that way either.
Yeah.
But we will at least be able to get some sort of data that would suggest people going for this rather than this?
Yeah, I think so. It's just, in the end, Apple may never tell us.
No.
Is the thing. We may only be inferring, but I guess it's kind of, it's okay for a lot of people. I guess the key thing is for devs.
Yeah. Targeting the sizes.
What kind of data they eventually get.
Yeah.
As to what percentage of their audience they need, how much time they need to be spending worrying about optimizing for the 6 Plus.
As opposed to just upscaling.
Something like that, yeah.
I think I saw a stat as well that the original iPhone sold, I think, about 6 million in its first year versus this 10 million for the iPhone 6 Plus.
In a weekend.
Which is, there's some figures for you.
Almost terrifying. Let's move on then to the wider world of tech. So, a bit of news this week was that there is a new Kindle coming out called the Kindle Voyage, and it's premium. It is
it's premium in that it is expensive, but it's not vast amounts of money.
No, but it's compared to other ebook readers. It is magnesium and glass.
That's true. That's true.
Quite a bit more money than the regular Kindle.
True.
Because
the Kobo's down to £29 or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
sometimes at least.
So they are.
And I bought the Nook Simple Touch when it was £29.
Not quite commodity items, but pushing towards it.
Yeah, and make your money on the books or whatever. I guess is the idea. But the Kindle Voyage, it has a magnesium case and a etched glass front, which they say feels almost like paper. And 300 DPI, so like retina quality e-ink screen.
Aside, the trackpad on modern laptops are etched glass as well. A lot of people don't realise.
When you say modern laptops, do you mean MacBooks?
Sorry, modern MacBooks, yes.
Because I've used a lot of Windows laptops and no, they aren't. So that'd be lovely. Yes. And also it's supposed to help reduce glare, the etched glass. But I bring it up because it is a touchscreen, it does touchy things, I believe.
Yep.
But it also has some side page turn buttons.
Yeah.
And I just want you to talk about the old Kindle that you have that you really like. So we can talk about why this premium one is good.
Yeah, so well teed up, Matt. You've heard me talk about this enough that now you're doing it in film. And now that you're committed to film.
I'm actually just
So I bought the second generation Kindle, the first that was called the International Edition, the first one that was available outside the US. Because the first one, if you remember, was that weird sort of angular kind of 80s looking design with the sparkle scroll wheel and stuff. It was very peculiar.
They were all a bit 80s beige.
Yes. But when the second one came out, I stayed up and ordered it. I've never done that for even an iPhone, but I was so excited that I ordered it, and I love it. I think it's a beautiful little thing. Part of the reason I love it is because Amazon's done what is right, not what people want, which is the classic Apple thing as well. Give people what they need, not what they ask for.
This is in the old...
In the second generation one. It's like when the classic line of asking Henry Ford, apparently apocryphally, this didn't actually happen, but if you ask people what they want, they'll just say a faster horse. Fair enough.
No, I think that did happen. What he supposedly didn't say
the black.
Was... Yeah, that you can
any
have
colour
any
you
colour
like, apart from black. Anyway, just got black horses now. So the reason I like it is because, one of the reasons I like it is it's got huge big bezels, so it's very, very comfortable to hold. Very light anyway, as you'd expect an e-ink device to be. Big buttons. And in order to turn the page, all you do is you just twitch your thumb very, very slightly and the page turns.
And you're already holding in the right spot.
You're already holding it in the right spot, so it's just the slightest of movements. Now, everyone said, why don't they touch? And obviously Amazon went, fine, make them touch then. But with that, you've got to lift your thumb off the bezel, which changes the balance, move it onto the screen, tap it, and then move it back. Now, I'm not in any way suggesting that's an onerous action to do, but when your primary interaction paradigm with a book, with an ebook, is just that, you better damn well get that right. And they caved, I think, to popular demand and did the touch thing.
And there's the argument that it was simpler and better,
yeah, and
people just wanted something flashy,
yeah,
but they got it right in the first place.
Absolutely.
But it's not just that it was a button.
No, yes. So with my one, if you imagine that this is the width of the bezel and the screen is here and then the other bezel's over there. On my one, the hinge is here, almost at the outside edge, so that when you press it inwards.
And again,
like
that's where the
where
edge
the
of your thumb is resting.
Naturally resting. Whereas with the newer ones, the ones that came after that, even though they had physical buttons, they were very, very thin for one thing, and also they were hinged on this side so they clicked to the outside of the device.
So you had to roll your thumbs out rather than just press where they were.
Sitting. So it changed the balance a little bit, which is suboptimal, I think. But at least now, even though the new ones don't have actual physical clicky buttons, they are touch sensitive. They're pressure sensitive, I should say. Areas on again, wide bezels, and you get a haptic feedback, you get a buzz when it goes.
So hopefully, yes, on this new Kindle Voyage, hopefully what you can do is just press your thumb straight forward as you could in the past, and it will register it. Yeah. No movement, no swipe, no left or right, just apply pressure, page goes forward.
Yeah. And even things like the one I've got's got a huge big chin on it for the keyboard. And obviously people say, oh, it looks really ugly, but it's actually quite a useful thing. If I'm lying in bed reading and I rest the book on my chest, that raises the screen to a comfortable reading position, whereas with the ones that are an even bezel all around, you have to hold them. Not terrible.
Do you think that was planned in? Do you think that was kind of...
No, I wouldn't have thought so. But it is a good piece of UI design, whether it's intentional or not.
It worked.
Yeah. One thing I was really amused about, actually, you talked about the new 300 dpi screen, is, do you remember really back in the day, well, with dot matrices, you got dot matrices that would do NLQ, near letter quality, and letter quality. And then with inkjets, you got inkjets that did laser quality. And it's really funny to me that you've got these really ancient, in real terms, tech terms, being brought out again and made current and sexy and exciting by talking about laser quality text.
And we still do lasers, still buy them.
True.
As consumed, not very often,
no,
I'll admit. Anyway, let's move on to our bit of kit for this week.
So what we have here is the Parrot Jumping Sumo, part of the new mini drones line for that. And this is, as I say, the first one of these iPhone-controlled toys that I've ever used that is properly fun.
Not the first one. The Parrot AR drone was great.
Yes, that was
still
cool.
Is,
that quadricopter. That was quite
quadricopter.
cool. I'm so looking forward to the Bebop, which is their new one. It's a stupid name, but the new quadricopter coming from Parrot is going to be really cool. Okay. But this one, Matt is now controlling from his iPad.
I am. It has a camera on the front here, so I can actually see what it sees.
I'm glad you pointed to the front there.
Yes, but it's probably hard to see which side is the front from there. And I can make it go forward and backwards and turn it by tilting the iPad. And best of all, I can make it jump.
Oh, you just got
it. I'm actually getting stuck.
I could probably get it out of there, but
maybe I could jump it out, but I have trouble controlling it accurately. Anyway,
and so the way it works is when you switch it on, it creates its own little Wi-Fi network. So you attach to it over Wi-Fi. So the range is reasonably good.
And it's got some great little gesture controls.
Yeah.
So I can just swipe to make it turn 90 degrees in a few cases, and swipe down to make it turn 180.
And part of the reason it's really good is that...
I can make it jump.
So near. You can make it jump onto things. Well, one can. Oh, that's far too far. Oh, see, fell short. Well, yes, says I. As evidenced by your performance.
Way. Too excited. Wait. What's going on? Anyway, carry on talking.
I'm just, the tension is mounting. And part of the reason it's really fun is because trying to overshot, trying to look at it, watch it, and control is actually quite difficult.
Yes.
But if you just watch the screen, it's just this little bouncing terrier at the front door coming up.
Easy.
Just watching the screen and controlling it from there for like driving it around is really cool. And because it's got because it's Wi-Fi, the range is reasonable.
Yeah, it's
the
pretty
range
good.
Is actually pretty good.
The battery life is
suboptimal.
Not fantastic. It's about 20 minutes.
Yeah, and okay, you're allowed to lift it back up. I think within the rules of the game. Oh, you're just going hardcore. Nice.
It does. I think it's got some smarts in to do with
it sort of shuddered there, didn't
it? When it knows it's tumbling around, it really puts an effort in to correct itself.
I'm just going to hold my tea.
I'm worried about my leg, actually. No.
Nice backflip. I'm sure the Norwegian judges will give you points for that. One thing we should point out is that it's quite resilient.
It's really tough. I mean, I've managed to put some things in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly. It's obviously it's made of plastic, but those big wheels are actually very good at absorbing nice stuff. I'm just so
absorbing
scared.
impact.
Yes.
Suspense.
Nice. well done.
That was so close.
One thing I would say is that the so you've got, these wheels, you've got them in the sort of Nancy aspect of them, so they can be set like this, which is giving you more stability.
Yeah.
Or you can just sort of crunch them in like that, which gives it more manoeuvrability. So rather than
it's really manoeuvrable anyway.
But it is really manoeuvrable.
This isn't like especially necessary.
No. And it is genuinely fun when you're zooming around. When you were zooming around the office yesterday, when it's moving quite fast, and it does move quite fast. You can. It
goes 4.5 miles an hour. It's rated for.
Yeah, but it's quite noisy when it's going at full blast. But when it's just sort of creeping around, it's actually quite quiet. So you can just creep up on people with it.
What's really funny is sometimes the lights go red to say that it's unhappy about something. When it starts creeping towards you and the eyes go red,
it's just going into attack mode. Go on, jump it at Ian, our poor cameraman. Oh. Look at the squeal. And do you know what? It's quite expensive. It's like 120 quid, 130 quid, something like that. Which is... Oh, it's going to die. We've just lost our cameraman and we've lost our second lens. However, happily, we're now coming to the end of the time. So while Ian picks himself up, dusts himself down, and files a lawsuit against Future and Matt in particular, let's wrap up the show. Let us know what you think of any of the stuff we talked about in this week's show. The iPhone 6 numbers, do you think those are particularly impressive? Do you think they are going to cause problems? Do you think it means that Apple is doomed or saved by the iPhone 6? What else did we talk about the second? Oh, the Kindle. Is the Kindle good enough for you? Do you think you want to just read your books on your iOS devices and you don't need a Kindle at all? Let us know in the comments below, and also let us know what you think Ian should sue for from Matt in the inevitable lawsuit that brings against Future here. But don't forget, of course, you can subscribe to the MacFormat YouTube channel at youtube.com/MacFormatUK. You can watch previous episodes of this show with a link in the middle of the screen, and you can also try out an interactive edition of MacFormat's iPad edition magazine at macformat.com/iPad. It's completely free. Definitely check it out because it is all kinds of awesome. But that's it for this week. Thank God. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Recording.
That is the worst colour of tea I've ever seen.
It looks like green. I think it must be the light.
Is it coffee or?
No, it's tea.